I want to demonstrate for you the process of installing and running a third-party package. Today we're going to use Matplotlib. Matplotlib is visualization software that allows you to make charts and graphs, all kinds of different visualizations. First, we need some data to visualize. I have a module here called Airbnb CSV.py. I'm not going to show you that because it's part of your homework. But this module will take a data set, load it as a list of tuples, and return that list to the client. So we'll start with import airbnb.csv as CSV load. I'm using an alias so I don't have to type out Airbnb_CSV. So first we're going to grab some data. I've simplified this process. My module already knows the file name that we're looking for. And the result I have is just a gigantic list of Airbnb property details from New York City. Let's print out data and also the length of data to see what we got. So I have a whole bunch of tuples with the name of a borough in New York City, a type of a room, and the cost of the rental. I've got 49,000, almost 49,000 rentals here. What I would like to do is compact that into a pie chart that shows visually how many rentals came from each borough. Notice that the borough name is the first item in each tuple. So I'm going to use a list comprehension to isolate just the borough names. And then what I actually want are the names of the 5 unique boroughs. And what I'm going to do is take that list of boroughs and pass it as an argument into the set constructor. Remember that sets only allow unique items. So by passing boroughs into the set constructor, I get a set that will contain just the 5 boroughs. But I want that to be a list, so I'm going to take the result and pass it back to the list constructor. Let's make sure we got what we wanted. Good, those are the 5 boroughs. Remember that the order of a set is not guaranteed, so if I run this several times, I'll get several different results. That'll become important later. Now I need to know how many Airbnb listings are in each borough, so I'll create a new label called numListings. And again, this is going to be a list. I'm going to use a list comprehension. I'll access my boroughs list, but I'm going to use a list method called count. Count will tell us how many of the items in boroughs match the label label. And so I'm going to iterate over my label set. Let's see what we get. Excellent. I'd like to be really precise with my variable names, and I noticed that I've named this label set even though it's no longer a set. So let's just call this labels. Now we know the labels for the 5 boroughs, and we know how many listings there are for each borough. We're ready to put it into a pie chart. In order to do that, I'm going to import matplotlib. And from the matplotlib package, I'm going to import a module called pyplot. I'll give that an alias. Notice matplotlib is underlined in red. That's because I haven't installed this package yet. But it's super easy to install a package in Python. And if you're using PyCharm, it's even easier. Python comes with a utility called the pip installer. You can use the pip installer from the command line to install packages with just one command. But PyCharm automates that process even more. I'm going to go to PyCharm, Preferences, and then Project Interpreter under Project. There are only 2 packages installed at this point, and that's basically the installer packages. We want to add matplotlib, so we're going to click on the plus for install and type in the name matplotlib. I find the package here, so I'm going to click Install Package. I'm using a virtual environment, so this package will only be installed in this one environment. If you have several projects going on, you may have to install this package for each project. So this was installed successfully. And now I see that I've actually had several packages installed here because matplotlib depends on all of these other packages to function. I'll click OK, and matplotlib is no longer underlined. Matplotlib is a super sophisticated package and it can do a lot, but I just want to show you how easy it is to get a pie chart. Remember, we used plt as an alias for matplotlib.pyplot. We're just going to say plt.py and then put in our name, numListings. Then we just need one more statement, plt.show. We'll run this. And in PyCharm, our pie chart shows up right here. Now, this pie chart isn't very useful. There are no labels or percentages or anything like that. Let's add a couple parameters in here. The first parameter I'm going to add is labels. And we also named our variable labels. So I'll just say labels equals labels. And the list that we pass into this parameter needs to be in the same order as the numListings list that we passed in. So in other words, the boroughs in labels need to line up with the counts in numListings. And that will be fine because we based numListings on the labels list. We recognize that the order of this set was not guaranteed, and we saw that it's changing all the time if we try to print it out. But once we pass it through the list parameter, the order of labels will be guaranteed. So let's run this again. And our labels pop up with each of our little slices. This is a nice view, but unfortunately every time we run it, because of that unordered set parameter, our boroughs are going to show up in a different order. I'll leave that for you to fix. Another parameter we might use is AutoPercent. AutoPercent will add some labels to the graph with the percentages that each slice represents. It's a C-style formatting string, just like F strings. We'll run that, and the percentages are added. Now in just about every view, these percentages end up pretty squished. I'd like to add one more parameter, and that's called explode, which makes each slice of the graph move out a little bit from the center. First we set up a list. I'm going to call it explode. It should be the same length as numListings and represents the distance that each slice will explode from the center. I'm going to make them all the same. So that makes the pie chart a little easier to read. We might want to collect Bronx and Staten Island into an other category, and you can do that programmatically before you present the pie chart. So that's Matplotlib and PyPlot in a nutshell. There are so many different graphs you can make with Matplotlib. But beyond that, there are over 100,000 different packages available to you in Python. If you're interested in data analysis, you might want to check out NumPy. For data visualization, Matplotlib is great, and there are other packages as well. If you're into machine learning, maybe scikit-learn or Keras or TensorFlow. For image manipulation, OpenCV is great. Python is so much fun because it's easy to play around with all these packages that other people have already made for you. And when you get a little more experience, you can even help the community improve these packages.